Well, good afternoon, Faith Church family, and this is our weekend highlight. And what we want to do today is just give you a little picture of what we're going to be looking at this Sunday, and make sure that you're here this Sunday and you'd invite your friends for our services at 8:30, 10, and 11:15. Well, a couple things. Number one, we're going to wrap up our series on the tough sayings of Jesus as we look at Mark chapter 9. And we're going to be looking at greatness. And so a question I would have you think about is, how do you measure greatness? And how do you value what is great? And this isn't just a question about who is important. It really is a question that touches on every single area of life. And so Mark chapter 9 is a passage I'd have you read. And I'm looking forward to a great Sunday as we enter into the Thanksgiving holiday next weekend. So make sure you join us again at 8:30, 10, and 11:15. Now, last Sunday I did a teaching on one of the hard sayings of Jesus about divorce. And we talked about how divorce is not part of God's plan for marriages to stay together. Another thing we did is I talked about how with our connection cards or even via email, you can be sending questions in and we will address them on the weekend highlight. And so our first question that we're going to address today, it's the only question we'll address today, is this. It says, the question I was given was this: what about emotional and physical abuse in a marriage, especially if the abuser is refusing to seek help? Now, first of all, let me just say this. If you're not married and you're in an abusive relationship, you need to get out. Don't think they're going to get better. Let them get better and then get back into a relationship. But if you're not married and you're in an abusive relationship, just simply get out. Let me answer the question, though, as it pertains to if you're in a marriage relationship and there's some abuse. Let's briefly talk about abuse. Whether abuse is physical or sexual or just emotional, it's all emotional. There's an impact on your soul when you're abused. And so what I would first and foremost say to you is you need to understand that this is not part of God's plan. God did not make you to be abused, and you don't deserve the abuse. No matter what your past is, and no matter what mistakes you have made, you do not deserve to be abused. It's not part of God's plan. So you need to take action. So first of all, you need to know truth. This isn't God's plan, and you don't deserve it. Secondly, taking action, you need to share what's going on with a friend. You need to share with somebody who's trusted and who's not going to talk outside of the small circle of you and that friend. And share with them what's going on. Ask them to pray for you. And with that friend, you need to do an assessment. And that assessment is simply this: am I in a safe place? While divorce isn't something I counsel, separation is. If you're not in a safe place, get out. And the third thing you need to do is if your husband or your wife, if it's an abusive woman, if they're part of our church family, a leader like me should know. I would like to come alongside you and help you with this because you're not supposed to be in this place. But there needs to be some action. So number one is you need to know that God didn't make you for this. Number two, you need to share with a trusted friend. And number three, there needs to be something that you do. Maybe it's just to begin to remove yourself for a season. Maybe it is to confront your spouse and say, this is not right. But if you're told you need to submit to me because that's what the Bible says, that's most likely a manipulative tool to get you to do what somebody else wants. So I would just say to you, feel free to come to me with this, and I would love to talk with you. Obviously, this weekend highlight is a little longer than our typical one because we're addressing a tough question. But my encouragement for you is go to a friend and feel free to come to me or my wife, Chris. We would love to come alongside you in this painful time. Well, last thing is we have a survey that you can see on the board behind me. And it's just simply surveymonkey.com/S/ and that's S as in Sam, /Faith Church 2011. And this survey is going to help us with some decisions we're looking at making for service schedule times in the new year. Hopefully you received that in an email. But if you could jump online, it'll take you about 5 minutes. Again, that's surveymonkey.com /S/ /Faith Church 2011. Well, hey, we look forward to seeing you Sunday. A great time of worship and a great time of learning together about God and His Word. See you then.